This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job!
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Strafe, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, RPers. Welcome to RPMMORadio, our 68th episode. What? Is it a name? I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as always, is my crew, Jazz. I almost combined Jazz and Kishmas's name, which comes out Jismus.
Oh, that's horrible.
That would be Jismus. Jazz, Kishmas, Sib, and Strafe. We actually have a Kishmas today, coming in from the wild lands of Canada.
Full crew. And hey, folks.
How's everybody doing?
I have a headache. Other than that, everything's grand.
Oh, good. Let's start out with the complaining. This really is
Thank you for sharing.
This really is an RP show. Yeah.
I unmuted myself.
You hate yourself? Yeah, we too.
No, I unmuted myself. So I'm doing good.
Good.
Start.
What? I'm not starting. I'm not starting with you. I'm not doing this again. You know, we've gone around all day. I'm not doing it with no. Stop.
I really need a cricket sound effect.
Yeah, you do. But thankfully, you don't have one, and the one you do sounds like little chiclets dying. So
you're a chiclet that dies.
I wish. So anyway, appreciate everybody tuning in. Got some fun stuff for you tonight. If you want to, you can always watch us over live every Saturday at 7 Central over at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us, candy, large gobs of money. The lady that won out in, North Virginia, go ahead and throw some money our way if you want. I'm good with that. Not for the show. I just don't want to work ever again. So the other thing is I want to give a special thanks to our Patreon donors from patreon.com/RPMMORadio, especially those at the raid boss level, like the Truth Bob. Remember, you still can get stickers if you would like a show sticker. If you do that at the $5 level or above, I think by now everybody should have them except for Wakachodo, who will get his probably after the holiday.
Yeah.
No.
I did tell him, he's like, you need to check your mail. He goes, I'll check it now. I'm like, wait, no, I couldn't. He left before I could tell him now.
Oh, no. He should get his probably in the next couple days.
That reminds me, I gotta go check my P.O. box.
I said after the holiday, which would be Monday.
Well, I was thinking... Shut up.
The mailman doesn't know that there's no post on Monday.
Did you not get yours, Kishmas?
Oh, no, I haven't checked the P.O. box.
He's from New York. Fuck the mail. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the mailmen here are assholes.
Well, they're New Yorkers.
That's every mailman.
How you doing, asshole?
Yeah, to be
but
fair...
I'm a nice asshole, okay?
And I will say, as a mailman... Our attitude varies from customer to customer. Typically, we treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
I like how you got your little hint of Cliff Clavin in there, just to stick
you
it to it.
You get what you put in. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So quit blocking your fucking P.O. box, douche canoe.
Well, I have to do a handstand to do that because it's way up high.
Park your golf cart and your rascal in front of it. Anyway, well, before this gets any dumber than it already is, you can also, of course, remember we are a podcast, first and foremost. The Twitch thing is fun to do live so we can interact with you and take your questions. Like Calico, what if I got an RPMMORadio tattoo? I'm crazy. I'd do something like that. I would highly advise against that. That will close a lot of doors. Just putting that out.
The man is a biker, I'm just saying.
Right, and that would close a lot of bar doors. you would not
That's
be allowed
true.
in them anymore. I mean, if you want to get a giant I mean, unless the only way I'm going to allow it is if you do it like what's his face that plays Machete, and do it the same size as the woman on his chest as the crying llama. Then I will allow it. If you're gonna
Talking about Danny Trejo.
yeah, Danny Trejo. If you do a full size crying llama on your chest, none of this little tiny like, oh, I got it on my ankle, or it's calico, so that if I got the tramp stamp on the top of my butt crack, none of that counts. It's got to be
Oh no!
full, like 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot on the chest, and then you got to go shirtless.
Tattoos there are not all bad.
Unless you're a woman. Girls, just the point of advice, don't ruin what God already made perfect.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're
Don't-
such
Don't put anything on the girls. Just saying, anything around there is fine, but not on. Like that, like that woman that put her dog. Like, and remembering my puppy, she put dog paws on the top of each boob. Yeah, that didn't go so well.
That's not a turn on. But anyway.
No. What? I'm
There
allowed
are
to be
so
a
many
pig.
things I could say. And
Yeah,
it's just
but you're a better
annoying.
person than I, and that makes you not as funny.
Probably true.
Yeah, I love you. Someone's got to. We all know it's not God, you heathen.
That's
You're
not true.
such an ass. I love you, but you are such an ass.
You know I love you. Again, because
Yeah.
nobody else will.
Oh my gosh!
What?
You are horrible tonight.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Oh, you're making me pull it out. Okay.
Oh no.
Shame. What? Did you think it was gonna be the meaty hands?
No, I'm pretty sure when you said you're going to pull it out, he was thinking that straps on, but that's just me. That's one more episode.
Oh!
One more episode.
Bazinga!
Great minds think alike.
There's a reason I was like, I like this Roger guy. He's pretty funny.
Do I need to be like the call screener for the next episode and let Rohan R sit in on this one?
No.
Or be like a moderator so Unifae could sit in on this one? I'm gonna be like totally beat red this whole next episode.
No, I think the next episode there's going to be plenty enough for everybody. Yeah, which by the way, 69th episode, nice, will be our ERP episode finally. I know
Nice.
We've had multiple people ask us over the years. Literally, can you believe we've been doing this for almost 2 years now?
And we've been
We
broadcasting
have.
it just as long.
Yeah. Oops. I just clicked on something there. There we go. That's awesome.
Quit touching buttons.
No, I clicked on our security camera on the outside. Just watching the truck. But yeah, so next week will be the big one when we finally tackle the ERP. I would assume that it's probably going to go long. It's not going to be child friendly. So, have your kids listen in. They may learn something, just like they did when I learned about sex through the monkeys at the zoo. It turns out the other one was
That explains so much right
It
now.
really does, doesn't it?
I thought one was trying to give the other one a piggyback ride, and I'm like, that doesn't work like that. You're not pigs.
No wonder you keep jumping on my back.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
Oh, Sib.
I'm not supposed
Oh,
to.
no.
Is that not how?
No.
Wow, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So anyway, moving on. I guess we should probably see what we've all been doing in roleplay this week. And as I can see from the outline, we have a plethora of things to go off of.
No. Okay, on the count of 3,
Plethora.
everybody go. Not it.
Not it.
Okay.
Not it.
I said
Not
on the
it.
count of 3.
Not it.
1,
Not
2,
it.
3.
Not it.
Not it. Oh. Who was left? I think it was Jazz.
It was Jazz.
Jess. Had nothing to do with the
Right.
fact that I muted her, but
Oh, you're the boss.
Yeah.
You're just too slow, Jess. You gotta beat that mute button.
Yeah.
The trick is she's been muted the whole time.
We love you, Jazz.
I know. So, in roleplay, I have had a killer headache all week. So I haven't been as bouncy in roleplay as I have been last week. I did roleplay on Cial quite a bit, and I did do a lot of Telvanni kind of stuff, but it was all pretty laid back. We had the poetry thing, which was fun, and we did our regular Thursday and Friday gigs with the Telvanni and the Guild RP, and those were both a lot of fun, but nothing really major. It was more just get to know you, and we've been getting new members and getting them, not affiliated, but accustomed to the way we do things and lining people up for tasks and things like that. So while it wasn't earth-shattering, it was certainly good for the guild as a whole and building RP for the future, which is always good. I did get some Cial time, and that always is good because I always feel like I accomplished something when I can play Cial for a while.
Aw, little Cial.
Yeah, she's my baby.
Little murderous sociopath.
My little murderous sociopath that makes me feel so much better about life. I think one of the reasons that I enjoy playing her the most, particularly in the Rift, and when it comes to dealing with drama and people that like to cause drama, Cial is perfect because she doesn't give a shit.
Right. She just
thinks, yeah, when I have people that come up to me that don't like my character or don't like me OOC because they can't tell the difference between OOC and IC, and they start causing problems or trying to cause problems, Cial just laughs at them, and they don't know how to take that because she just laughs. She just laughs at them, and they wander off. And she just keeps going.
You don't take me seriously!
Yeah.
Super serious.
They're like when it was like, you have a friend, Cial. She goes, yeah, I sure do. Took a drink. That bitch can kiss my entire ass. And then just kept laughing and drinking. And it is incredibly freeing because obviously on my guild leader tune I can't do that. And
in real life you can't do that.
Yeah, in real life I can't do that because I'm a social worker, and
that would make for an interesting. That sounds like a comedy sitcom, just like a bad social worker that treats the people like shit. Most social workers.
Oh, stop it.
Jazz, as you well know, once you cross into the troll side, there's no turning.
Yes, and I do enjoy. I like Sia because she is a bit trolly, and she does enjoy irritating people. But it is very relaxing to play her after a long day of social working. Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, I actually managed to I went on a day and roleplayed this week. I'm finally trying to slowly work my way back into it. Was a crossover event training thing that they do the servants do first Monday of every month. This one I enjoyed it because somebody took one of the giant open houses and did a huge hedge maze. I unfortunately was stuck with Kishmis, and he actually led us completely through it without a problem, really. Other than like one or two dead ends that were like all of 4 feet.
Literally one dead end.
Yeah, it was at the very end, and that was just because we missed the... there was a tiny little offshoot, and it was actually pretty well hidden, but not unfairly. So
I made Raj just fuck off. He took out Graham with 2 crippled people. That
is true, yeah.
Or else you would have booked it.
Yeah, because since I've been gone for over a month, I've gone ahead and had Tarvala was on the front lines of the war near the borders of Morrowind, and she actually lost her leg, and she's had it reattached, and her eyes gone white, and she's all scarred up now, so she's been through some shit. I haven't really explained it much to anybody because I've only been on the one day, but I'm hoping I can write a story about it and make it fairly interesting and entertaining. I'd hope to do that this week, but Red Dead Redemption 2 got in the way, and also a lot of VR. I was gifted an Oculus Rift by my brother-in-law, who is an awesome person, and so I've been really trying VR, not the shitty little cardboard piece of shit with your phone VR, which was interesting, but compared to something with the actual controllers, I'm going to have a couple things to say about that, I think, next year when I've really had some time to play with it, and I think we're going to have to do an episode on the future of MMOs, both on computers and with the possibility of VR if it ever picks up, because I think there could be a real future into that, because it is, I will say, it's absolutely amazing to hold up the remote and the hands that you see through your visor feels like your hands. Sib tried it out a little bit. I had to hold her up on one of them, and another one that was a scary one, I bailed. She bailed the fuck out. It was too real for her. And she likes scary stuff.
I love scary stuff, but it was creepy.
It was too. It was.
Kid was like creeping around you, and it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
He got too close, and
it was the face
done.
your fears one, and basically there's 3 scenarios, and that you're just a kid sitting in your bed. You don't interact with anything. You just look around as things happen around you, and you can hear the sounds off in the distance, and things start flying around the room. And there's what got her was. There's a nightstand on your right-hand side, and on the other side, there's a door to your bathroom, and you could hear him banging around in there, and you could see him through the crack of the door, and then he shoots out of it, crawling on the wall, goes behind your head, which, if you're fast enough...
I had my eyes closed at that point, so I didn't even see him do that.
And then he bails into the dark, and then later on, something pops on your left hand, and then you look right when you hear another noise, and he's right there on the bedstand, just like, ah! And she's like, no. She's sweating, and it was fantastic.
And it doesn't help. Okay, he's doing the VR in our office where we do the show, and it's not a big space.
I do not have a 7 by 7 foot room. It's like 3 by 3,
and like the curtain kept touching me and freaking me out, and I'm like, no, it's touching me.
Yeah, so, the phrase "it's touching me." Remember, virtual reality. We don't have haptic gear yet. So
no, but
it's just brushing against her.
Yeah, it was creeping me out because I was like, things were touching me in our area, and not to mention listening to him do it. We have a screen that parts our desks, and every now and then I'll see the whole screen just start shaking. I'm like, did you punch the screen again?
I may have reached out for something, yes. But yeah, so that'll be a topic probably either before the end of the year or at the beginning of next year. It'll be very interesting, and we'll just have to wait and see. But that was pretty much all I had. So what about you, Sib? It's your talk. Oh, okay, excuse me. Good Lord. Go for it.
I actually was able to log in. I can't remember what nights exactly, but I did get some RP. I think it was Sunday. I RP'd with Strafe, and we kind of got our characters up to date on everything because since I had missed pretty much all of October, I made it back, and we kind of just went over how everything's going between our characters since they're in a relationship. Then Thursday night, I went to Guild Night, and it was a lot of fun. We, Strafe and our friend Ericus, they did a show together, and it was so good. It was, what was the song again? Help me out, Strafe. I know it was Mick Jagger. Yeah, but they did an awesome job on it. It was a lot of fun to watch. And then after that, I was on Kilvin at that time, and I logged over to Voli, and we started playing a little tavern game of 20 questions, which I had so much fun playing that. One of the guys in the guild, he was bartending, Coyote, and he decided he wanted to play games, so we started it, and it was really a lot of fun. Everybody kind of went around and asked questions. There was some that were, they were chatting, so they didn't join in, but still, the ones that were playing, it was neat. It was a good idea. I think I wish people would do more stuff like that. And then last night, I actually took my little Kilvin over to the Telvanni meeting, and
yes, that was fun.
Kind of got to meet everybody, and she got an assignment, and it's one of, again, Ericus's characters. They're supposed to go do like a little assignment together, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping we can get it set up in the next week. So I'll have several days off and hopefully be able to RP. But I feel like I'm actually getting able to get back into it. And it makes me happy because I've missed it. I've missed everybody, hanging out with everyone, talking, just relaxing, playing.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun.
It's good to get back in the groove. Well,
Yeah.
let's go with Kishmas since it's been so long since we've had him on from start to finish.
Where do I start? All right, fuck all, nothing. Literally.
All right, well, good talk.
No, you met at the tea house. You talked a little bit.
A little bit. I forget about what, but
Just chat, and then you met
Just
some of
chat.
your friends over on the other side and talked to them for a while.
yep, that's pretty much sums it up. Besides,
Yep.
individual RP with Neth as always, because
Right.
I always like that RP. But it's really been nothing. I've not been doing many events. I did one event. It was fun, but probably not gonna follow up on it. It's
Yeah.
just been one of those things. I'm not really burnt out. I just don't know what to do. So,
Right.
Where to go next?
Yeah. Well, we might have to have Tarvala and him get together and they can talk some, because I know she's at least explain it to somebody what happened. But
Sounds like you're in a drive-through line, bro.
yeah, what is that in the background?
And if you are, double cheeseburger, jalapenos,
yeah,
hold the
I
onion.
want the 10-pack of nugs with sweet and sour sauce.
Excellent.
want to know.
All right.
tell
Well,
you
last but not least, Strafa. What have you
had
got, bud?
had a pretty fun couple of weeks. As Sib said, she came back end of last week, started role playing that weekend, and her character Voli and Trath had a proper tea time in the new terrace overlooking the reflection pool, and they had a jolly good conversation, catching up and stuff she missed. What she was doing, she hired apparently a new Breton lad. Trath was instantly envious, but he's there running her ranch. Apparently, there's a high interest in the silver horses. Poetry night. Well, tea time was rather good. Poetry night went off, actually, like without a hitch. Last time I held it, it turned into just a small hangout and chat. But we had full attendance again. It was a lot of fun.
That's good.
Sia, and Ericus's character got into it, in which she poured meat all over the floor, in which Trath had to clean up. But he got an apology out of her, and that was sufficient.
Floor meat.
Guild night,
That's a
the
waste
Rufus
of-
was contracted to go hang out with the Master Bard. Of course, you had to put on the finery for the proper show, and I had to hide behind the curtain. And as soon as the Strandrick gave the signal, I rolled out from the curtain, and we started dancing the dance of joy, but it was multiple dance of joy. To great fanfare. Otherwise, they ignored the Khajiit, and the Khajiit snuck off. Trash showed up later. It was a lot of fun there. Voli showed up later after Kilvin went in. So everybody got to see Voli. We played 20 questions, in which Trath was asked to come up with a answer, and then everyone had to go around the bar asking questions. Tarly won at length when she figured out it was Senkator and Cyrodiil, and it was quite a fun little experience. And that's been my roleplay for the week so far.
Very good, very good. Well, it is that time of year too with the dry spells will be a coming.
no.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
everything's folding
It's like
up
we
and-
said last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
It's
think
going
Servants
away.
had two. I know Sabea and then someone else on Wednesday. I think they tried to do something and there just wasn't enough people on or around at the time. And
That means it's
Yeah.
folding up. It's time to close shop.
it's failing guild. That's what it is. That's all there is to it. So yeah, well with
The end.
the end of which.
The end! That was glorious, by the way.
That was a lot of fun. So, for that, I actually want to get over to our results for the presidential election before we hear the the candidate-elect. Is that what they call it? President-elect. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, when Arthur
It was
Maxim
rigged.
was the winner of it with 35.5%. Second was 25% of the vote. Penelope Bellows, Sib's character. Funny enough, the two rivals from EverQuest 2, Lucan and Antonia, came in at 16%, and somehow the Nazis still managed. I'm assuming it was the guys from where was that? Georgia, Atlanta. Must have come out and voted, so he got a solid 6% of the vote. Even though he was polling so low, he was not invited to the debate. So with that, looks like Arthur Maxim of the Wasteland and the Brotherhood of Steel will be the future president of the MMO Multiverse. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go live over to him at the Pride Win. It looks like he is, he is exiting from the lower hatch and coming to the podium now. Let's listen in on what he has to say.
My fellow roleplayers, brothers and sisters of Steel, and every citizen of the RP Multiverse, you have made your voice known throughout the realms. You've chosen honor, steel, and hope for a better roleplay tomorrow. You've rejected the tyranny of dictators, out-of-touch nobles, purple Wookiees, and player-killer oppressors. It is my great honor to speak to you, the people of the great MMO Multiverse, to chart our course to an amazing future free of trolls,
Rigged.
player killers, and raiders of all types. As I speak to you, just now leaving the Pride Win, our sister ships are heading to your other realms.
Stop them at the border!
I think it was.
Pardon me, we're
rigged.
having a little...
It was rigged.
I'm not fired!
Do we have the signal? I have taken over this broadcast. This is a fallacy.
Somebody grab that man.
No, I was no fool. Well, I raised enough undead to sweep this vote.
Come on,
I
fellas.
demand a
Let's get out of here.
recount.
These people aren't worth our time. Maxon, call me.
She's just sucking up to something else once again.
We have the feedback. Good. My apologies, citizens. We have some sore losers afoot. No matter, we shall make sure we deal with them personally. As I was saying, we just arrived in the Pride Win to the Multiverse Hub. We're glad to be here. Sister ships of the Pride Win are heading out to your realms to establish a footing so we can better assess the severity of your realm's problems and to serve you, the people. Together we will build a brand new tomorrow from the ashes of the old. Together we will be forged as strong as steel. Together we will save roleplay for generations in memoriam. Steel be with us all. Ad Victoriam.
This is bullshit. The end.
Well, congratulations, Arthur.
losers.
Wow.
Apparently, we need to secure our lines a little better. I'm gonna have to get in touch with Discord. Apparently,
Yeah, that was a little odd. No interruption in the middle of everything.
Yeah. Well, did Delir actually admit that he's like raising the dead and having the dead vote for him?
He totally admitted it.
And
It was
he's-
live.
and he still managed to lose.
Yep, that's
Huh.
pretty sad.
Huh. Well, next time he's going to have to raise more dead. Clearly, Antonio Bale should watch out. He's coming for her. Who am I kidding? They're never going to progress the story there at all before the game shuts down and is mothballed. No, you know what we should do? Let's go back and recount Kunark for the 15th time in the same game. Or maybe we could release an entire expansion and say it's brand new and just have revamped one of the zones or two.
You're not bitter at all. I can tell.
I'm just saying this is a for instance, nothing that anybody would actually do as a development company. Especially those fine Russian developers over at Daybreak Games, Columbus Nova. God, I really hate what they did to my game. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, well, so do we.
I also want to thank, just because it just popped up, Musecast 14, or XIV if you want to be technical, for following us about 6 days ago. That's the Musecast is one I've listened to. The two girls from Final Fantasy 14 that they play some of the other characters that from the game. So I appreciate them following us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully you guys are nice if you're listening. It's just a disagreement, like I said. I just
Yay, Final Fantasy players.
But yeah, there's some good ones. I will say, not so much a personal note, but the one of the podcasts, the only one I'm still listening to, mostly because they're entertaining, the Limit Break Radio folks, they've only got 2 episodes left of their podcast. They're the ones we had on that they're doing in 2 weeks' time. They're doing the big party out in Las Vegas for the Fan Fest, but because their Checkpoint XP actual radio show got taken over, I think, by Bailey Multimedia, bottom. They actually get to do that full time. Like, they quit their jobs and actually get to.
That's cool.
Do like was it esports and gaming news and stuff, like, as a job. They actually have their own place out there and up in Michigan where they're at that they get to go and produce that stuff. But because it's a conflict of interest for them to do the Final Fantasy 14 podcast with their actual one, which is what they're paid to do, it's in their contract that the ones that were on there, they can no longer actually do that show. So it's kind of a bummer because they're the, a Nero and Callow and Juxta and Nika and one other that I'm forgetting because they're not on there anymore. Joe is his real name, but they were the ones that inspired me to actually try doing a podcast, and also the quality and audio and everything that we have here. I try to reach that. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I fail more often than not. But compared to a lot of podcasts, just trying to hold up to their standard, I think we go above and beyond the Call of Duty. So I wanted to give just a quick special shout out and thank you. Hopefully, I can listen to their last show tomorrow before they have to sign off. They're going to do one more show actually at Las Vegas, but they're not going to have call-ins, obviously, because they're going to be in fucking Las Vegas at the Luxor. Kind of hard to take calls. So yeah, I'm
sure they'll have a grand time though.
Yeah. Oh, I
love to go.
I so wish we could go. Their VIP stuff and just I've seen pictures of that Luxor. The Luxor itself is freaking awesome, but their esports arena is just super cool. So I hope they have a good time. I wish them nothing but success. Checkpoint XP, if you actually like listening to esports, and it's not just esports, as they always say, it's actually just gaming in general as well. Give them a listen. They might actually be on your local radio station even. They've got, I think, about 100 or 1.5 million listeners nationwide now.
Wow.
At least through the radio part of it. And they do podcasts and shows every single day, Monday through Friday. So, like I said, I don't typically, go listen to other shows. But they're the ones that inspired us. They're the reason that we're here at all, almost 2 years after we did this for Roleplay. And given ours is a much smaller niche, but we've really enjoyed doing this, and it's been pretty cool. I have fun with it. We have a lot of very loyal listeners, and we appreciate all of you guys out there for that.
Yes.
So I wanted to give them a quick shout out. It's kind of an end of an era. They've been doing that for Final Fantasy 14 for so long, and I've always enjoyed keeping up on that game. It's a neat game, but unfortunately it falls into a lot of the same repetitive rhythms. It's actually a problem I'm starting to see with ESO a little bit too. But ESO still has more variety, even though their release cycles are kind of on the same, DLC expansion, DLC expansion, that kind of thing. But at least with their gear and their combinations of shit you can do, at least ESO's got them heads above that. And WoW's, and WoW's expansions are always fucking huge. I mean, they always reinvent the wheel every time, and somehow, most of the time, Mists of Pandaria side tend to do it. Unless as I hear.
And I just don't get why you would remake the wheel every time. I think that's just annoying.
Well, it's more like the wheel's the same, but it's the internal structures, I think, from what I've heard. Like, and I get this from our brother-in-law, the one that gave me the Oculus Rift. He's an avid WoW player. Mm-hmm. That's his go-to game. It's all he plays, really. And even he says, yeah, it's a little annoying at first. Every expansion, you kind of have to relearn what you do. But it always refreshes it, too. It keeps it from getting stale. So there is that aspect of it as well. And then there's so many alternate systems, and there's more than one. That's what we have in ESO. You could do it when you hit end game. There's more than one thing to do. You can go do the giant PvP in Cyrodiil. You could do raids. You can do the dungeon crawls. You can still keep doing quests because God knows there's 5,000 of them. There's you can grind for gear. You can grind for all sorts of stuff. And World of Warcraft is like that too. The problem with like Final Fantasy 14 is the raiding scene's actually very small, and the gear progression is always the same. It's every time something comes out, you're gonna knock it up a notch, and then the stuff that was harder to get before becomes super easy to get, and you can catch up in no time. To dumb it down to the basic thing. It's still a fun game, and the stories are still pretty good. Although I've heard Stormblood was a little lackluster. Lackluster? It's lackluster.
Lackluster.
Thank you. So, anyway, that's enough about other MMOs. With that, let's go ahead and go. Before we get our main topic, I think we have... Oh, Jesus. God. Do we really have to let him in?
He got in this morning. I couldn't get him out.
Do you know...
I know.
I'm putting this on you, Straffe. You know how much friggin' money it takes to shampoo the carpets 15 times after he comes in and out of here?
The problem was, Hot Jessica dropped by the studio this morning, and
Double D, damn it.
5 minutes later, a truck pulled up, and I couldn't lock the doors. He was already...
What does he drive? You always mention his truck. I've never actually seen it. I can smell it after it's gone, and usually the black cloud of exhaust that pours out of it. He's like a Captain Planet villain with the amount of exhaust coming out of that.
I believe he's got a
I just like
know.
ruining the environment.
Can I ask what you and Hot Jessica were doing there this morning?
Well, clearly she came by the station to check the poll numbers. I
see who she had to suck
the poll
up to.
I mean, who was I to not let her in? I mean, she's kind of in the running, right? So I mean, I opened the door. Suddenly, this 1950 Chevrolet pulled up in all green, and then Audi. I couldn't shut the door. He kind of knocked me to the floor.
He's a little bigger than you.
Yeah, it was all over but the front at that point. Because then he got into the break room, and that's when I called you.
I really think him and Hot Jessica have a thing. Because they seem to show up and leave together quite a bit.
All right, well, drag his trolley ass in here. Let's see what he's got. Go ahead, Gormal. You're up.
Yeah, you're up. You're up, Dive. This thing is on?
Yes.
Yes, this thing is on. So you got the bad names, eh? Rob too many fruit stands in the free ports? Your mama leave you with a terrible name because she don't like you? Well, come on down to Direfear's New Names Emporiums. We take your name and use our special troll renaming formula to give you a new lease on life. Just ask the Midnight here. She came to me with my special formula. We had folks calling her mid-fights in no time. Or this other guy, this Tritons. Yeah, what a boring name. He came into Gormal and walked out with the new name, the 10 Troll. We here at Direfear New Names Emporium believe that we can take your own names lick it up and down one side and then the other. Give you a whole new lease on life. So come on down to Dire Fears. Your new life begins today. Dire Fear New Name Emporium is not liable for false citizenship fraud or your arrest by the Freeport Militia.
All right, now get out of here, you stinky bastard.
I'll be back for your snack machines.
Yeah, take all the Mrs. Freshly biscuits out of there. Nobody's eating that shit. They're all still labeled Final Fantasy XIV from their promo for Stormblood, which make no sense at all.
Not even the troll can stomach that mess. You kids have good time now.
Go
on,
away.
We've got date down by the lakes.
Oh my god.
Okay, he left. He's out. I'm locking the door now.
Chain it. Don't lock it. Chain it.
I'm chaining it.
Chains.
Okay, I put 2 padlocks on it. I think we're good.
All right. Enough of that crazy fucking troll. So,
wait a minute. What is that? What did he leave on the table?
Don't. That's
What
just.
is that?
Don't touch
What's
it.
in the box?
It's probably.
What is that?
It's probably a turd in a box. No one. Yeah.
It's eyeballs and it's
eyeballs and jar. Oh, this is marked
Whoa,
for.
The fuck was that?
This is marked for Miri Valkavik. Oh wait, Satal. Oh, I read it wrong. There's a jar for a Valkavik, and there's a jar for a Miri Satal. Not sure why these are left.
We'll make sure she gets those.
Yes. So.
I ain't touching it.
No, don't touch. All right. Well, for today's topic, what's in a name? It's kind of the first thing people see floating above your head, so fairly important. Little piece of trivia. The name is fairly important.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So it's kind of like that moment you walk into a roleplay setting and notice names that don't seem to belong. And these are a few examples. Some may or may not be ones that we have either used or know, such as X Sephiroth X.
Yes, I will claim that shame in my youth.
Ninja Blade. That one, who is Ninja Blade?
Just some, I see that all the time.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Night Fury. That one I'm aware of. Alucard. Juan Cholo. Was that a real one? Did you really see a Juan Cholo?
I've seen that. Yes, I have seen Juan Cholo in Star Wars.
And the Romeo Alpha.
Also known as Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, that's...
Well,
Yeah.
We love you, Romeo, but you did name yourself after a car, bro.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, though, I did make my Secret World character Dale Tucker after Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So, let's see. Yunfei in the chat.
You okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Which, if you haven't seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil, you are cheating yourself on great horror comedy. Which isn't Jazz. Even Jazz could do that one because it's not really horror.
Probably.
That is an hour and a half of your life that you'll be like
you'll end up wasting again at some point.
That was well worth sitting down and watching.
So let's see. Yunfei says one of the favorites from EQ1 was an ogre named Gazooks. See, for an ogre, I think I can let that one make sense.
That one's cute.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But see, that's one of those things where what you play and the setting you're in actually does play into that. Like, if you're playing Gazooks or Gazooks as a elf, that doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
No, but as a ogre or a troll, that totally works.
Totally works.
Totally works. So it's kind of a classic mistake, especially of early role players and their very beginning experiences. You start as a typical gamer and you found a whole new world, and the problem is
a whole new world. I'm sorry.
That's where we'll
you.
be.
Because I was gonna do it, Jazz.
I'm being glared at. I can.
Shining place.
For
A wondrous
you
place.
and me.
We're gonna get sued by Disney. You know they love doing that, right?
They ruined Star Wars. They can eat it.
Yeah, they'll still sue you into oblivion.
Yes, I know. I mean, they can't sue me past. I mean, I'm already a debt slave to the government. So good luck with it.
Oh, and remind me again, Strafe, what is it you do for a living?
I am a game developer at a place that does military contracts.
Oh,
I'm a real debt slave to the government.
They can find something with your skill set to put you at mind-numbing work for nothing in their Disney labor camps.
Probably.
You'll end up working at Pixar as the guy that puts the textures on like all the nostril hairs of Sully and Monsters Inc. 4.
Suddenly, becoming a mountain man in Alaska sounded real good.
Yeah. That's what I thought. The mouse owns your soul. But it's some people, they come into roleplay and they just got, they come onto it. They've made their typical like me. One of my first characters in EQ1, I didn't roll. Bless you. In EQ1, I didn't roleplay then. Was like Goku, Goku-o-san, if I remember it right. Clearly not a roleplay name, but I didn't roleplay, so I didn't give a shit. But like if I had, that probably would have been a problem. I know a lot of role players then don't take you too seriously. So there is that. If you've got to do, and if you're already a role player and that's the name if you come up, like, hey, yeah, I'm role playing, but I'm going to name him Goku. Don't do that.
Please don't do it.
Not good. Like I think was it Night Fury was she had the name and then she got into roleplay, didn't she?
Right. She became a role player before we had name change tokens.
Right. So she came up with something else.
Well, no, originally she just went by Night Fury.
No, I meant like she came up with a reason why the Night Fury name was there later on, but her name, like in character name, was Bree, which is what everyone eventually just
No, that was Cyan, yeah.
Oh,
Bree was Sabri. That was the other.
Oh, Sabri, yeah. I get people mixed up.
You do. You really do.
Let's see. Oh, Yudfei has another one. There was a lady in EQ2 who was playing Akira, and her name was No Bad Kitty.
Yep, I remember her. No Bad Kitty, yeah.
No Bad Kitty. Probably not.
But as a Khajiit, Akira, it made sense. It kind of worked.
There are so many damn cat species and races. I keep getting them. I get the...
Yes, I can't... And they all start with K. Mm-hmm. It's not okay.
Yeah. Because, cat.
Yeah.
Kitty. Which, by the way...
before they, there was the Valshir, weren't they, originally?
The Valshir were...
Yeah,
they were the
Valshir
good
were
ones.
first. That's true.
Because even when the Valshir were around, the Kara were too, and the Kara were always the slaves, and the Valshir were, like, the fucking awesome, like, warrior
more
cats.
primitive than the moon cats, right?
Yeah, definitely. Getting into complete nerd EverQuest lore, which, again, completely ruined by Daybreak Games. Yeah, when you start out with it, like I said, a name is really, really important. So if you're switching over, most games these days, if you get into it, you really might want to consider changing your name over to something that's not, X Sephiroth X.
Yeah.
Hey, that was pre you role playing too, so that's why you get away with that.
Yeah, you get a pass, just like Night Fury does. And by the time
Goku
she could change it.
Yeah.
She had roleplay to back it up.
Yeah, I was like Jazz Boys then. It was junior high. We all had our specific names, and we were playing amongst each other, and it was this weird dungeon dirt.
Right. So, and try as you might to roleplay, even if you roleplay well, if you've got one of those, as Strafe so eloquently says, derp names, I'm going to say a lot of folks in the roleplay community, they're not even going to give you the time of day. They'll turn your nose up at you, especially, back when, like we were saying, in the early EQ2 days, before it was super easy to pay, I think, $10 or whatever it is, to change your name. People were a little more forgiving then, especially if especially if other role players around them like, no, they're solid. They're actually not trolls. They're just they got into role play and they can't change it, but they're not willing to re-roll their level 70 character.
Right.
That's something
And we had profiles, and we could write the person's actual name in the profile so that, you know, because that's what she did. She went by Cyania, and everybody called her that. But if you called her Night Fury, that was okay too.
Right, because she ended up coming up with like that was something I was called long ago, or some, you know.
Yeah, that was my name a long time ago when I was in battle.
Yeah. Yeah, like
before I knew that,
like
though, I thought that was her tag name to being, you know, just hella fun on the sheets. But, you know, I never said it.
It was Fury, not Furry.
I'm sure she had the Fury of the night.
No, it works both ways, yeah. Night Furry and Night Fury.
I think Night Fury and I think of How to Train Your Dragon.
That's actually what I've come to associate it with, too. But she was, I think, ahead of that. Even the book series, if I remember right.
She was.
Yeah.
So good on her. She
was
has a
the
lawsuit,
first one
lawsuit pending.
Yeah, they can't ever say that because that was her. And I always
I meant for her.
Oh, yeah. We had a lot of people pre name change that would say, you know, so how do I explain this? And I'd say the easiest way is just to give a reason why it would be your nickname, and go with that.
Yeah, and you know, but the problem is though these days. If you turn on to roleplay and you've got one of those goofy ass names, it's really easy to change it, and most people don't really accept. And the problem is at least in a game too. I think this is kind. ESO seems to have this problem more than any other game I've played. I know I'd never really saw it that I can think of in Final Fantasy XIV. No, it never happened with the trolls and the annoying people actually pretending to be role players and stuff like that. But you know, sometimes they still have the goofy, stupid names, and that kind of gives it away. So because if you're an actual role player and you've got the goofy, stupid name, it's really hard to convince people unless you've got someone there to back you up. And even then. Because they seem to run in packs, I'm still leery of it. And by the way, always forgot. If you've got a story about a bad name that you've done, something embarrassing, or if you've seen bad, stupid roleplay names, or just whatever may be the funniest name in a game you've ever seen that always sticks with you, let us know either over at rpmmoradio.com/discord. You can let us know in the chat, or you know, if you want to actually call the show, feel free to. Same thing, rpmmoradio.com/discord, and jump in our waiting room, and our call screener Rahanar will make sure your stuff is working and that you're actually a human being and not.
And you're on the up and up.
Yeah, basically, mostly it's really just a mic check kind of a thing. You know, what it is you want is, you know.
And you're not
fine.
11.
And you're not 11, wanting to talk about a recently dead celebrity, which I still, would have been funny just to troll the kid back, but they're 11. I don't need some angry Twitch call. So
I was gonna say I got very lucky coming into RPing and playing games in MMOs because I was introduced to it through you, Ashen. So I didn't really have that opportunity to pick a derpy name for any of my characters just because you kind of had me, you know, you taught me, you brought me up.
Pick something you like.
Yeah.
Try to be original.
Yeah, so I really don't have any goofy names in my background.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them, but I don't really have any.
I've seen so many I can't even, honestly, it's all a jumble. I can't think of any one in particular that really stands out. I've seen some really good ones that at the moment I think are actually pretty funny, but... The
ones that I have a harder time with actually than the stupid names, or names that are of characters that I know exist, or like a car. If you can come up with a witty way to make your name out of a car, okay, I can kind of chuckle at it and let it go. But I have a really hard time with people who don't bother to capitalize their names, and they're out there role playing.
That's a tough one, yeah.
And you're like, dude, you look like a complete noob. And they're like, I've been RPing for 5 years. Really? Then why is your name not capitalized?
Yeah, and that goes, that's like literally, like the next thing here is that names have power. Not like, I know in Magic it's like your name has power, like the Dresden Files, but in both in the game and in real world, but they convey things to people, especially in role play and in a video game, because unlike, my name, Mike, I didn't get to choose my name. It's a very, very annoying name. I mean, I like it, but so do the other 5 billion Mikes I work with. So, I don't get to choose that.
He's not lying. We have like 5 other people named Mike at work.
So, but in a game, you get to pick it. So they know you get to pick it. They know that you're picking something unoriginal or outside the norm, and that tells other people, really, or if you do what Jazz said, where you don't capitalize it or punctuate it correctly, or the capitalization.
I'm going to know, especially if you're an established role player, you've been role playing for years, you just didn't bother to capitalize it because you thought it was funny or whatever.
Or just too lazy to hit the shift key.
I'm like, I know what kind of person you are as a role player, and I'm probably going to steer away from people like that, even if I'm wrong, because that's what I'm going to assume.
Yeah, exactly. And so, when you pick that name, it tells other players all they need to know about you in a lot of ways without you saying a single word. All they have to do is read, that your name is Kishmis with a lower K, and for some reason you capitalize the H,
Yeah.
It makes you shut up.
Role players will very quickly weigh you, measure you, and decide if you're worth their time.
Yeah.
And if you've got a derpy name of any kind, even if it's a little off, people are so dubious for being trolled that they will not talk.
And there was a gentleman that I role played with a lot in the Rift who was I want to say a Khajiit, I don't remember exactly, but his name was uncapitalized, and he was always into the lore. And he's always played the game, but he'd never role-played before. When he came into the game, he just made a character, and he just didn't capitalize it because he didn't know if he was going to keep the character. And he ended up role-playing with it, and eventually, now it has a capital. He changed the name.
He actually
but he had to wait.
The money, yeah.
He had to save the money to get the money to do it, and I was totally okay with that. But that's not usually the case.
Yeah, well, and it's all like everything, everything we say, we have to speak in generalities, because I would be here all fucking day going over like, all right, well...
That's true.
We don't mean this for everybody. It's implied.
Yeah.
Oh no,
and I'm not trying.
No, I'm just saying for anybody that was
to understand that we're not picking on people, and we know there's exceptions to the rule.
Well,
okay, we are picking on people, but we do know there's exceptions to the rule. But we're saying, I just feel like a lot of times people want to be the exception to the rule.
Right. It gets you
and
noticed,
that annoys
but
me.
Being negative attention, while it is attention, still kind of negative. Yeah. You look like a putz, and there's a saying out there that, with almost all human interaction, and it's the same way, especially in RP and online with this, that most people decide what they think of you within the first 10 seconds of meeting you. They know if they like you or not, like right off the bat. 90% of the time, their first impression is typically accurate. And it's really not all that different. So if your name is all fucked up and or misspelled, it's not going to go well for you, because you've already used up 90% of your chance with them. And that first impression is really hard to undo.
They don't pass the smell test.
Right. Yeah. And given that it is kind of one of those things, it's really easy. It's really hard to change someone's first impression of you. Really easy to make that first good impression negative later on, though, isn't it? Just throwing that out there, But you really, it really is important, and sometimes, like we said, with the Night Fury, there was another one that we all, Jazz and I knew and loved him dearly, was Wrong Way, our Russian defector, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. He was literally a Russian defector from the 80s. He was a really
interesting,
cool
person.
and interesting guy.
Yeah, but when I met him. I mean, I think when we met him in the Haze, I thought he was a troll, and then I found out he was in one of the main RP guilds, and we started talking, and eventually he ended up joining our guild. And he was just the most fascinating person I'd ever met, and we became really good friends. But he kept the name Wrong Way because his character, while his character he was an explorer, he was no good with maps. And he basically just spent all his time lost, and that's how he explored the world. And he thought it was a really funny thing, and so he made a character like that. And he's immortalized in our guild hall because he passed away in real life, and it was really hard on all of us because he was such a good person, and we all were really, it happened very quickly, and we were all struck by that. And he remains one of the most fascinating characters that I've ever roleplayed with.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was just a cool guy. I think, and a lot of that comes from other things we've said is you roleplay what you know, and he had a very interesting life. You know, there's a lot of people that come here to America and other countries from those very, you know, like that. He came from the Soviet bloc back when it wasn't Russia, it was the USSR. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't Russia anymore. But you know, you hear those stories of people that escaped North Korea or just all over the world in these terrible countries, and they have, when they westernize, I suppose you could say, into, you know, the United States or somewhere in Europe, they have an experience that most, you know, Americans and Europeans can barely fathom. Like, we can hear the story, but to live through what they do, you know, minute by minute. Like, I've known, there was a guy that they were, I forget where it was. They were leaving one of the really dangerous places. I think it was Burma, and like one of their family, it was North Korea. Some time ago, the kids were sent off across the river, and the dad said, you know, hey, don't worry about me, I'll be right back. Never saw him again. But they made it to South Korea, and then they made it, you know, here to the States. And they got, you know, jobs in whatever it is that they do, wherever, for whatever reason. I heard the story. I can't remember now. I just remember the story. But, you know, they have no idea what happened to him. And most people here, they can't fathom something like that. I mean, I can't. I just being sent across the river, and your father saying, go, you know, take your mother, take your brother, and go, and then I'll be right behind you, and then you never see him again. And that gives people like Wrong Way and others a very interesting perspective on the world that a lot, you know, especially in their role play, if they ever get to that point, that it makes them far more in-depth characters because they've got a wealth of experience that others just, I can't, like I said, I can't even fathom. You know, I'm sure I've done some things in my life that others have not, and vice versa. But there are some things that happen that just change you on a fundamental level in the way you think about the world and the atmospheres around you. So for people like Wrong Way, you know, it is funny that he came up with that and he managed to actually work. I mean, it's such a stupid name. I mean, really, Wrong Way. But he made it work, and people just he made it believable because the rest of his character followed suit. And
I'm curious. What race was Wrong Way?
Human.
He's just
human.
Okay.
Yeah, just human. Yeah, nothing special. And Yunfei, I think, actually, I was just looking it up, and according to what I saw, Japanese keyboards, they're basically laid out just like American keyboards, but like how we've got buttons that say, you know, they got the semicolon and the colon. They're American style, but they may have a few extra keys, and like underneath the letter keys, they'll have the Japanese version. So they are able to do it, but also it could be just that their English may not be well enough that when they're making a name, they know how. Everyone, I don't know. But I don't know why. She also said you see a lot of names with lowercase letters in Secret World where the majority of players are not American. So that could just be a language barrier thing there. I'm not really sure. I guess that is a possibility to think about, but
or they're just super lazy, right?
Or it could just be they're super lazy and don't know how their shift key works. I'm not really sure why that would be, because most people, if they're speaking, if they're typing out in English, clearly they've got a better grasp of the English language than I do of the English language.
It's a caps lock key, man.
Yeah, as long as they're not. Yeah, at least their caps lock's not frozen. But yeah, it's that's a little bit weird. I'd have to. Want to get through enough of Secret World to actually get to a roleplay hub and find out what's going on over there. I want to actually kind of do that for a lot of games for what we're going to do next year, which is still up in the air, but just to try to give a better, well-rounded focus on things for the MMO and roleplay communities, especially the ones that don't make me charge a monthly fee. Final Fantasy XIV will not be probably on them for a while. Although I do want to play through Stormblood, but that literally means subscribing for a month or two, and then I'll wait till the 5th expansion comes out and finishes up in a year and a half's time, or 2 years' time. But that's another thing. So with that, the other thing too is just kind of like we did with the character creation. Sometimes you just have to re-roll your character with a better name, or get, like we said, get the name change tokens, which is far easier these days. Almost every game has them at this point.
Our local MMO extortion market.
Yeah, I have to say though,
market, yeah.
ESO does this particular part very badly because they charge way more than a lot of other games.
What is it they charge? Is it?
It's like 2,000 crowns.
$20.
It's
like
20
15
bucks.
crowns. Like 50.
Yeah, 1,500 is about 15 bucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get it. You could, if you buy them in bulk, you can get a couple extra for quote unquote free. But yeah, $20 is way much. Like I'd say $10 is a fairly decent price, and I kind of understand if they don't want people like constantly changing their names all the time. I don't begrudge them on their end, because I'm sure there's a lot.
Oh, I do. I begrudge them a lot because they're just being stupid. But yeah.
Well, some of them, some of the older ones, it's really hard on the code because the code is so friggin' old. I kind of get why they charge that, because it is a pain in the ass, and I know once they've got it automated, it's easy peasy. But some of those old games like EverQuest 1, I know when they introduced them, I can only imagine the amount of 1998 code they had to rewrite to implement something like that.
And
if they can rewrite the code for flying mounts, they can shut up and just.
Well, I'm talking EQ1, not
we're talking
EQ2.
old games.
Yeah,
Case in point.
Yeah, the
SWG
ones.
I transferred over to play with some of my friends who were still playing Starsider, and that guild there was Rebel, so we all had to be in the Rebel faction. I was still an Imperial Ace pilot because of the transfer, and that was just a freaking character transfer, not even a name change. So
right, it couldn't
there's a lot of bugs that come along.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I get it. But you have to even think, Jazz. Even these days, EQ2. I mean, it came out in 2004, which means they started coding that, or like 2000. I mean, that's on almost 20-year-old coding. And I know they've made updates, but
I guess as someone who's
right,
as Strafe looked into what coding is and studied it, and I was fascinated with it because all my friends were half my friends were going to school for it, so I was really curious, and I learned a lot about it for that reason. You guys know I'm kind of weird about that. I try to learn.
But there's also, when it comes to an MMO, it's the number of systems that interact with each other. You futz up one and you can fuck up 10 others just on accident. That's why we have so many bug patches. But no, I get what you're saying. It's just I think MMOs are a different beast. Because they code for one thing, but it's also linked to 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 or 15 other things. So you screw
back
up
in
one.
EQ1 days, you literally had to contact Variant, or it became
Variant,
SOE.
Yeah.
And it was not it was not a quick process. It was a lengthy process. It had to be a reason for harassment, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Of course, that was also when they would still do it for free then too. But
they would do it for free, but you had to jump through like 3 fiery hoops.
Yeah. But again, and we're getting into the excuse for the extortion markets, but yeah. But the fact of the matter is, especially if it's early on and you're like, it's easier just to recreate your character. Just do that. You save yourself the 10, or in case of ESO, $20. I don't know why
Yeah,
my
just
dog is
reroll. You still have
whining.
friends. Let them know who you are. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Exactly. Or one thing a lot of people do is they'll, if they have the same name, I know how many times, at least the character creator, you make your name, you're like, I got it perfect. You get in there, like we said, and the lighting's all fucked up in the world, and you end up looking like some sort of like just horrible elephant man when you actually get in the game. So you're like, fuck.
Your hair looks one way in the creator, and then you get in game and you look like Ronald McDonald's horrible
Right.
child. Should never exist.
You look
and
like
you glow in the dark.
Yeah, you look like Donald Trump cross-dressed with Ronald McDonald and had a love child with Michael Moore. It's
I just want to
some
say,
fat,
I
lumpy
got the best
orange
dresses in
thing.
the game. The most glowy hair, and my skin is perfect orange peel.
And we're gonna make Kinos pay for it. China. He's single-handedly ruined the word China for me, by the way. Every time I hear someone say, and another thing about China, I instantly out loud, I'm, China.
China. Bad deals. Too bad.
But, yeah, sorry. I can get off on all the
We
presidents.
get off on the weeds.
They always have, let's see, Obama had, let me be clear, and folks. Those were his two favorite words. Bush had nuclear.
Nuclear, yeah. That man could not say that word to save his life. It was just like
another thing. We gotta stop Russia in their nuclear programs. We gotta go over in Iran. They got nuclear centrifuges. And and as Unface says, when we're over there fighting against them, we got to use strategery, which is, of course, one of my favorite games to play with Dick. Oh, wait, no, that's Stratego. The taco bar's open? Tacos rule. Sorry. Sorry, I went full Bush
so
there.
goddamn well. It's just hilarious. It really is.
Get out the bushes. Sorry. Anyway, so
fun.
politics. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of weird names, I'm in game fishing
So-
and doing gathering.
Oh, yeah?
And a name that just popped up, Bush W. Awesome.
Wow, timing.
I was like, we were just talking
One thing too, and I wanted to say this earlier, but I got sidetracked. Razor's Edge in the Twitch chat said, every MMO I have ever played, I had a character named Tina. And if they are a cat race, I give them the last name Nuzzlepur, simply because my first Tina Nuzzlepur was a Vashir in EQ1. And see, now, something like that, Nuzzlepur, or the other one, Kitty, who's a listener of the show and has her own Twitch chat, which is Kitty something. Sorry, I don't remember. There's certain names. Like I said, part of that depends on the race. Like to be named Nuzzlepur, I think for a cat race, yeah. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It kind of makes sense, I don't. For some reason, because the first name is still, it's a normal name, and last names, the Ratonga and EverQuest, they had some weird freaking names all over the place. Anyway,
yeah, they did.
So that you could come up with a lot of them. It's just like with trolls and ogres. Orcs can come up with some weird names, or the dwarves. You could. It's really easy with dwarves. Something like I have Bargnar Anvil Crusher. Anvil Crusher for any other race would sound like you're being a fucking troll. On a dwarf, sounds great.
If you're playing a troll or an orc, you could totally name yourself Lord Dork Madurp or something like that.
Right.
And you could kind of get
Yeah, Dick.
or Madorp or something like that. Anything stupid.
Or as Yunfei said, Dick Fuck Dong Smasher. That works. That works.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm now okay. Again, I'm not a developer. That one may not make it past the naming.
I would say probably not unless you spelled it really weird.
Well, I'm pretty sure the dick part would probably would probably
Send
get
their
you.
name
I've
box
actually
to
seen
Fizzy.
it get through because there's a guy in game in ESO.
Oh, yeah.
Its basic name
Oh.
is Dick Licker. But he
That's my
spelled it so bizarrely that I had to look at it for like a good 2 minutes before I figured out what it was.
I've seen
Yeah.
trolls like name themselves profanity, but they'll take the first letter of each word and then switch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of they're special.
Apologize, my son's feeding our dogs in the background.
That's why our puppy was whining.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's see here. Where were we? Oh, that being said, what makes a good name? Obviously, gotta be lore and stuff, but there's a lot of factors in deciding a good roleplay friendly name for a character, including but not limited to are knowing the game's lore. And this one's important too for all the races because some are do it differently. Things like Lord of the Rings Online. I mean, there's so much lore in just the naming conventions for each different race and stuff like that.
And they even have their own languages that you can use to name yourself. So it works.
Yeah, and I mean, there's Lord of the Rings at least has the benefit of being so popular. I actually looked it up before. There's naming generators for that, and you can click on each, like if you're from Rohan or if you're from Strafe, help me out. I'm not great with Lord of the Rings. Gondor, or the Shire, or
Goldenwood.
The different elven races even have their own sort of naming. Yeah, all that stuff.
I can do this all day.
Right. I know, like the Shire, Gondor, Dickmore, and
Dickmore. No, not
Fillermore.
Dickmore.
Fillermore?
Mordor.
No, that's no. No, Mordor. That's from Star Trek. That's on the Vulcan planet. That's what you're thinking of.
No, he's right.
No. See, it's what you're thinking of, Strafe, is in Doctor Who episode 249 when they went to
Mordor, Doctor Who,
so
I don't care.
Mordor was there with Dick Door, and then there was this big guy, and he was saying like, "Hold the door," and then it turned into Hodor. And then that's how we got Hodor's greatest Christmas hits, which will be something we do in December.
Oh.
I just thought his girlfriend was at the door, but hey, we might argue.
Look what you did.
Anyway, so
the nice thing about ESO is they actually, the unofficial pages will provide you with the information necessary to, like, they have all the last names in the game, that sort of thing, so that you can tie yourself to a character name in the guild, which is handy. Not a lot of games have that, so that was nice.
Yeah. So knowing the lore, like I said, in Lord of the Rings, man, that one's actually very nice because there's a lot of there's things where you can, like, other than generators, like you could, like, a lot of the certain ones end in I'm totally not thinking right. What was the king dude's name with the broken ass sword?
Aragon.
No. Yeah.
No.
Elrond?
No. That was the elf. The other king, the human king.
Aragorn.
Like a lot of their stuff in.
That was close.
With like Orn and things like that, they have a lot of similar naming conventions. And thank you.
Fangorn Forest. Yeah, they got a lot of similarities.
I couldn't get through the books. I'll be frank. I am not a fan of Tolkien's writing style. I enjoyed the movies, but
it was glorious. I loved his writing.
It's monotonous is the word I use.
No, it's not.
Monotonous, especially The Hobbit. The Hobbit was just awful.
Dude, The Hobbit's the quickest read of them all.
I know, and the problem is I don't like musicals, and like I think 95% of that book is fucking hobbits and dwarves singing and dancing. I don't. It was just all bad. Just pissing people off.
Yes, you are. You are being very terrible right now.
Also,
he's the greatest writer ever.
Also, a good factor in deciding a good name is avoid well-known movie or game character names.
For the love of God and
please,
all that.
Please stop with the whole gnome thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Don't name yourself after a god, a well-named character in the game.
We're not trying to see Ner'zhul. We're not trying to see.
And if you're gonna do that, try to be creative with it. Like, do Again, I've had a long day. What's that thing where you take a word and you scramble up the letters to make other words? What's the fucking thing called?
Something gram.
Anagram?
Anagram.
Yeah.
Anagram.
If you're going to use, like I said, like if you want to be Sephiroth, use the letters and come up with a different name. You can use all the letters, But, like at least it's creative. Like one of my characters was Xanis Sulegna. Sulegna was Angelus backwards with an apostrophe in the middle. Was it silly and stupid? Yeah. You know how many people figured that out without me telling them? None.
And that makes you a winner.
Nobody figured that out.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
So, no Fortnite. Okay, it's PUBG, but I'm still sticking with it. But yeah, and I'm not sure what you meant on this one. Using a little of your character's backstory elements to accentuate your name.
So, if you're a good role player, think about your backstory, even if it's small backstory, and think about his environment. You can almost come up with a good last name or part of a first name from. It's a brainstorming lesson.
Yeah, use a little forethought.
Forethought, totally.
Yeah. Worgen Freeman of WoW. No. Yudfei. Just no. And pick a name based, like we said, pick a name based on your character or in race, your character's race, or the race of your character, if I said that as it was written. And finally,
don't be a hobbit name Leg of Loss, because people are just going to want to beat you in the face.
Yeah, no.
That's funny.
No loss of legs. No,
none of that.
No Bilbo no Frilbo Faggins. Wow, that sounded really bad coming off the top of my head. I apologize for that one. Oh wait, point. No, I don't, because it was off the top of my head and it happens. But yeah, none of that stuff. And and finally, if you're not sure, ask your RP friends. That might know what they're actually doing.
They'd be more than happy to come up with crazy names just for you to pick.
Yeah, and people are always happy to share their knowledge and information. I know we are, sometimes without being asked.
I know, just playing ESO, too. If you want to pick a weird, goofy name, they have @names. So make that your weird, goofy name, and then make your characters with actual names if you're going to RP. Because I know, like, my @name is Here's Hoping. I picked that off the wall whenever we first joined ESO, because we were going to try to get into the beta. And I was like, well, here's hoping. So, and it stuck. And now it's my @name. But all my characters have actual RP names.
Yeah. Yeah, very few people actually, at least in ESO, actually, like even Jazz, your @name is not anything like your actual character's name. Mine's Ashen Phoenix, Strafe's is Strafe, Kishmis is Kishmis,
Well, Narajash was
her character EQ2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zreesh Narajash was her name.
Yeah, but it's not one you're currently using. So, it's the same thing,
And when I left EQ and I went to other games, because of what happened in EQ2 with the blacklisting, I needed to make a new character @name, for like my email, because everybody knew my email, thanks to a certain dickwad that can't be named. So I created narajosh@gmail.com, which you can use. Doesn't matter, because it's a throwaway email that I never check. But it is my game email.
Send all your fan fiction dick stories to
narajosh@gmail.com.
Your Cialis emails too.
And it is it doesn't mean anything. It's just a character name. I always try to tie something to it, so that's why it was Narajosh. And now it's my @name across every game I've played since. So
yeah,
that's why I don't use it, is because it gets a lot of junk mail.
Yeah, and a lot of like I said, in ESO's a little different with the @name thing. Not a lot of usually what your character's name is. Secret World kind of does. It's a very similar thing because it's like I said, it's like Tucker, Ashen Phoenix, Dale kind of thing. You know, like
Yeah.
they have your at name in like quotation marks in the middle.
I remember that now.
Yeah. So okay, let's go ahead real quick. It's not exactly our call lines, but it is our call screener, Rahanar, who had a name story to tell. So what do you got, Rahanar?
It's actually two really brief things, and I apologize if I just stop talking. I may be coughing in real life.
No excuses.
The first thing is a kind of little bit of backstory behind Dick Smash the Dong Smasher. Dick Fuck the Dong Smasher. My wife and I, you and Faye, we listen to various people on Twitch and podcasts and things like that. And when Shadow of Mordor came out for the Wii, whenever you came across one of the big nasty orcs, it would say their name from the Wii controller, and so the joke became, you're just sitting there playing a game, and all of a sudden, Dick Fuck the Dog Smasher over your Wii controller.
And those things sound awful too.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of story behind that. But the actual story that I have for names is actually a name that I've used in multiple games now, and my character's name is Unimportant. And it started out as a joke, because whenever you go into roleplay, somebody asks you your name, you can then say, "My name is Unimportant."
That's awesome.
That's trolling.
And it's funny because it started out as a joke, and then I went with it, and it actually has generated really interesting roleplay just from a name.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like we said, it's the first thing people judge you on, and if it can be both a good, bad, or I'm intrigued, tell me more, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter, kind of a thing.
Yep, and that's really what it came down to is, people would go, "What do you mean your name is unimportant?" And my name is unimportant.
Just what I said.
Yeah. So, that's my little short
And
name
who's
story.
on first? Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll have. Yeah. Remember, guys, this guy here, he's sitting in the caller waiting room,
So
breathlessly anticipating your call.
Please, somebody join me in the call waiting room.
Give him something to do. If you've got a bad, you all know you've got embarrassing names out there. Just call in. Come on. Show some lady balls.
Ashen, can you not swallow your mic?
No.
Okay.
The man gets hungry, man. Leave him alone.
Swallowing my mic looks more like this and sounds more like this.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. You were talking a second ago, and it was like the screech from hell.
Yeah. You keep.
Oh,
doing
that's
that.
the scary monster in his headset.
That's right. Yeah.
It's Escape the VR thing.
No, that's
Halloween
not
episode was last couple episodes ago.
You're an episode. Get out of here. Go on. Shoot.
Yes, sir.
Shoot. Get out.
Hey, Rahnar.
Yeah. See, look at it. You gotta know how to talk to him. So another thing too, we'd mentioned it already, but we'll go ahead and we're gonna backtrack on this one because it is so important. When coming up with your name, you want to avoid plot NPC names, book series names, Drist Doerden. Not Drizzt, by the way. It's not pronounced Drizzt. It's Drist. There's no fucking I between the Z and the T. Just saying.
I see that.
We know he's cool.
I actually did not know who this person was when I was in EQ. And I was like, somebody needs to tell me if this is like a character. So I think it was actually you, Ashen, that explained
it was.
to me.
I remember when you asked that. I was like,
I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, what is it with all the Dritz people out here? It's ridiculous. What is
or
this?
Doertens or Doordens, and again. And I get it. I mean, I love that book series too, and he's a very interesting character. Don't
stop it.
Legolas, another one. We get it.
Stop
He's
it.
cool. He's neat. No.
No. Very bad.
Bad role player.
We're not friends.
Bad.
freaking Mirkwood to stop it.
Yeah.
Not the purple-eyed drow from freaking the Underfoot. Step away. Grow an imagination. If you can't grow one, buy one at Walmart.
Yeah, and see, and I get it. Like my character Xanis was a dark elf that was turned good. I mean, although it was through other means, but I actually didn't know the story of Drist when I came up with that. I based mine off of like Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which
then you used in-game lore, which made it work
to back it up. And you can do that stuff, but I didn't name him Drist, and I didn't name them Angelus. I did Sulegna because it was totally different and backwards. So, another one is movie character names. Mook Skyhopper. Is that somebody you've actually known, Strafei?
I've seen all kinds of ridiculous knockoff Star Wars names while playing 3D, and the start of the old. People are shameless trying to get those names, man. And they're not role players.
Right.
Well, so a lot of them are role players.
And when it comes to non-role players, I don't give a fuck what you call yourself. You guys are basically trailer trash anyway.
Oh my gosh.
What? I'm just saying white trailer trash. Like, come full out in a tube top. Okay, funny story. I was delivering mail
Here we go.
to a trailer park, all right? Camino Villa, which I don't know if anyone else knows about the El Camino, but that's all I could ever think of is that white trash truck car that
Before you go on,
there
was one
growing
in
up.
South Dallas called Oso Grande, and it was a giant trailer park, and I was like, Oso Grande, no. I dread the service call.
More like no so grande. Anyway, I'm delivering this, and it's already, this is. It's a trailer park. I mean, it's just one tornado away from being wiped off the face of the earth. It's that kind of place. But
there you go. We're losing all our trailer park.
Our trailer park people. Listen, there's nothing wrong with living in a trailer.
Way to go.
Just not in a trailer park. If you do that, you got some issues.
It's true.
So this lady comes out. Not what you would call classically attractive. To put it kindly. She had rather large tracts of land in a very short 4-foot frame. And I know that because she was wearing a white shirt and nothing else. And on top of this shirt, over these tracts of land, was the very classy, and for those that are looking, it was like this. Her hand, a pair of hands stenciled in black, like you were in a kindergarten school making hand turkeys, right over her boobs. And
why?
She wanted to know where her check was. So it's like, why? I don't know. I don't know, Jazz. What possesses a person, one, to come up to a complete stranger like that, even if I am your mailman, wearing what I assume was what you were just in at noon, in the middle of the day, and what at one time someone thought, what would be great with that shirt? My traced hand outline.
Are you sure it wasn't a tattoo?
It was a shirt. It was on her white shirt.
Oh, it was a shirt.
It was on her. It was on her white shirt.
I was a little confused too because I thought there was going to be a tube top in this story.
No.
You started out with a tube top reference.
That's because this actually happened to me. I wasn't just Larlene, put your shirt back on kind of a thing. But yeah, she had on the white shirt had stenciled over her boobs the hand outline of what I assume was. I assume it was Donald Trump. They were very small hands. So moving on. That was for you, Jazz. So yeah. So the other one too. Anime names. Naruto, Kakashi, Goku-san. Again, I wasn't role playing then. I get a pass. Just don't. Again, if you're going to do that, do the anagram thing or something. Just don't blatantly rip off other stuff that's very well known by millions of people. Don't. I mean, it's bad enough I mean, you could, like we've said, you can pull from their stories and all that if you really have to. Still do an amalgamation. I know we're using a lot of big words. We'll slow down.
And if you do this, if you do pick a name this way, do not get butthurt or be surprised when there's like 50 others running by.
Yeah.
Or when somebody says, "Why did you name your character that?"
I really don't want to interact with you because your names are dumb.
Yeah, you can't get upset at that point. You picked it.
And I'm not going to take you seriously if I see Hiro Yui or any kind of well-known anime character. I'm just going to roll my eyes and pass you by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here's a naming game. Pog Slide.
Wait, what?
Pog Slide.
Pog Slide.
I'm looking at names as we're going because I'm fishing and I'm watching.
You're paying attention to them. Yeah.
In Stormhaven in Wayrest the other day, and there was this extra juicy, super ginormous orc lady hanging out. And her name was like extra juicy, and I looked at it and I was like, oh god, it's worse than I imagined.
I thought you were talking about her character being extra juicy, not her. Okay, I'm caught up now.
Yeah, no,
it was her name.
It was freaking hilarious, and of course she's a troll character, but you don't try to RP with those folks. You just see them as you're going through the world that knocks you out of immersion for about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one is names in foreign languages that translate into stupid shit, like sex god or cunt slayer or whatever. I don't know, but you're not. It's just don't. Like, you can be creative with other languages and things like that, or I like Jazz. What was it? The Nerdrosham Nature Injure.
Your at name.
Your at name.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? I keep forgetting.
ZJ Narish.
Is that it?
Zarish?
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like it has a very kind of Middle Eastern or India.
Yeah, it
India
does. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Yes, it was coming from it's from the Middle Eastern language.
Yeah.
I wasn't Persian, but I forget which one. I picked one and found a name I liked, and then I changed the spelling. And yeah. But her name was Zarish.
And doing things like that, especially like if you're playing because they're always so original. They're always the desert-based things are always Middle Eastern inspired. Looking at you, Desert of Ro. Looking at you, upper left right hand side, or was it the upper left hand side of the map of ESO? What's that place called?
Yeah.
The Al-Kiri Desert?
Al-Kiri Desert? Yeah.
Again, Middle Eastern inspired because everybody from a desert has to be Middle Eastern, apparently. Racists. I mean, I know lots of people that live in Death Valley and they're white trash. They'd probably come out there with boob hand shirts.
Oh my god.
Out there by Slap City or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Salt Sea?
Yeah, I mean, why can't they be, like, the Texas-Mexico border? Why can't they be Hispanic? There's a lot of desert and sandy stuff out that El Paso way. They could be Hispanic.
There is.
A lot of I don't know if anyone's seen a Clint Eastwood from the last 30 years, but a lot of Mexico is kind of deserty. Why can't you do a?
Why is Clint Eastwood deal with?
Because he was always shooting Mexicans when he was a cowboy.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's his movies. Don't get mad at me. He was always shooting the Mexican guys.
Like, where are we going with this story? Because
I'm starting to get kind of cringy, but we'll smile and nod. Keep going, Ashen.
Is that not what his movies were when he did cowboy stuff?
No, you're not wrong.
Right. Hey, just because I say it makes me the bad guy. He's the one that made the movies and was shooting them.
Ashen. I mean, we don't worry about this ultimately because we're talking about somebody who's getting cringy.
Gran Torino was really good.
Appropriating a Middle Eastern name for her at name, so
it is cultural appropriation. That's true. But in roleplay, you can culturally appropriate whatever you want. Apparently,
you can, but make it sound cool. Don't be a tard.
Don't name your character like Nasapina Petalon.
Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, given Apu, which I'm not making that one up. That's his actual name, Apu Nasapita Petalon. Even though he may or may not be in The Simpsons anymore, thanks crazy people that don't know how to take a fucking joke. He was a beloved character, and he was great. And he probably taught me more about Indian culture than, India.
That would be the death of satire, but I digress.
So, if you're gonna use those naming conventions, you kind of go outside the box, because frankly, if you're an American, using foreign names is probably pretty original, and most of the 99% of other Americans won't have any idea what you did. Right, Chaz?
Well, I did. The reason that I did the reach was because almost nobody played that content, and I really enjoy Persian culture, and it was even part of my art degree. I enjoyed Islamic art.
It is true. She does have a picture of Xerxes in the Obama era style poster.
Oh, stop it. Anyway, I've always had a fascination about it. And,
Himba, his arms held wide.
I'm going to slap both of you one of these days. You know that. I'm going to meet you in person. I'm going to give you a hug, and I'm going to smack you when I'm done.
And I'm going to hold their arms behind their backs as you slap them.
I was going to say, hey, Strafe, the walls at Tanagra when the fell.
That's right. When the walls fell.
At Tanagra, yes. I remember that episode, too,
Gilgamesh.
when they only spoke in, historical things, yes. Sorry. But no, you're right, Jazz. It is kind of an interesting culture. I mean, they've only got, I don't know, since before the Bible, in written history to go.
Yeah, they
go off
are
of.
a very old culture, yes.
Yeah. Them.
And I've been fascinated with them since I was a little kid. So
yeah.
I've always
I love that
enjoyed
stuff,
playing Middle Eastern characters because most people don't. And I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot about the culture in and of itself. So when I play one, I find a lot of nuance in the world that because give developers credit. I mean, like Majdul had a lot of IndyQ too. Had a lot of cool things in it. And most people would miss it.
A lot of it did have a lot of Aladdin-inspired inspirations, yes.
I called that place Majduli and avoided it. The place was horrible.
What's funny is the guards in there. She muted herself. But the guards there always reminded you. Remember Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Yes.
The Indian guards there it looked almost like they were literally the same guy. It's like they took the big guy Indiana Jones fought on the conveyor belt and was like, you know what? We're gonna make him a city guard times 1,000. Fred.
It was him and the guy he smoked with the giant sword, right?
Yeah.
I always thought of those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's the guards in Majdul always reminded me of.
They were. And there was a lot of stuff in there that was cringe-worthy and painful, but there was also some really neat little bits and pieces of actual, what I would consider proper lore mixed in. So it was.
You're talking about a game based off D&D, based off
real world,
MMO.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Set in D&D.
It's a game.
Off a bunch of dervish cutthroats that had sweet rings back in the original MMO.
Oh yeah, I had a problem with the whole dervish thing. I was like, "Why are they dervishes? They're not dervishes. What are they talking about?"
That always irritated me too, because dervish is isn't it like just a verb? Like, he came at you like a dervish. It's like an actual it's like an action that happens, not a name of a group of people.
There were dancers called the dervish. I mean, it has a sort of connotation, but it's not from that region, like what Freeport was trying to look like. So it was always just like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
But then again, in EQ2, you harvested steel.
Okay, so I looked up dervish, a member of a Muslim, specifically Sufi religious order, who has taken vows of poverty and austerity. Dervishes first appeared in the 12th century. They were noted for their wild or ecstatic. Oh, yeah, ecstatic. That's a weird way of calling ecstatic rituals. That's a little weird. It's a weird way of describing something. Known for dancing, whirling like a dervish. Yeah, so that must be where the word dervish comes from. Is
yes,
the religion.
It does.
Yeah. Which fun note: the use of the word peaked in the early in 1900 and also in about 1825, and has been on the downcline ever since. That's a weird thing Google has. Sorry, just went down that.
One thing I knew is they hung out in camps out in the row, and they dropped sweet rings when you're new.
Who's so fat?
+2 agility, man. Free training.
Yeah, it was nice. Those rings were nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those were really good. So another one, and I put this one in here, is naming habits. And this is, I don't know how many other people do that. Do this. I know I might be the weird, stupid outlier. But when it comes to me, one thing I always have...
We won't judge.
Yeah, you probably should, because it's stupid, but I enjoy it. Is I always have at least one or two of these things in my name. There's either an X, or there's, like, usually it's the last name, there'll be a Sul, S-U-L, somewhere in my name, and it's a throwback to my first and best character, Xana Sulegna. So I typically, like Tarvala, it's Tarvala Sulgan, I think.
So you do the legacy name throughout every MMO?
Yeah, I do. Almost every one of them has something like that, and
that's cool.
It's just something I do. If I
Well,
think
I
I'm
know
really
people
going to
certainly do that.
Yeah.
I've known lots of people that I can track, who somebody is because they have a very similar name in every game.
Yeah.
And it's easy to find them because of that.
Yeah. And yeah, since I'm not one of those people that, turns into a psychopath and ruins people's lives, I don't have anything to hide from. And I've also never been blacklisted or blackballed. I've been blue-balled a few times, but I've never been blackballed.
Ouch.
I knew that was coming. Holy crap.
I'm nothing if not sexually predictable. By the way, see me after the show, Sib. We need to talk. Bring the box.
Ooh.
Ooh,
the box.
like, there you go.
Okay, I have to say this.
Go ahead.
I told my boss at work today was teasing us because one of the first times me and Ashen actually met, he was giving me the "I'm watching you" sign.
The meet the Fockers, like I'm watching you.
Yeah, and I mistook it because he was pulling into the parking lot as he was flipping me off, so I flipped him off.
Keep in mind, we're not married and we barely know each other at work.
And he's like, "What did I do?" He goes, "I was just playing around going, I'm watching you." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And my boss was like, "Well, that's why he married you, was because you were saying
offered."
Yeah. And I said, "Oh no, he married me because of my boobs." And I said, "Go ask him. He'll be honest." She wouldn't ask him. And he said, "Yeah, I married her for the girls."
Yep, both of those facts are true.
What a bro.
I was like, oh god.
Yeah, but it's back to the naming conventions thing. No, you're all right. One of the another one that I always found kind of cool was the author Jim Butcher of the Dresden Files. He's done a lot of books, and if you pay attention to them, every single one of his, they're all 2-word titles, and each word has the same. Both words have the same exact number of letters. It's like full moon or turncoat. The only one that actually broke that was one called Changes, because everything changed. It was like the whole book was just everything went on its head, which is why he changed the outline, and after that went right back to it.
You're gonna laugh when I tell you what mine is. I bet you. I think because you figured it out, but I think most people don't have any idea.
Go for it. Spill it.
Almost all of my characters break down into prime numbers.
Oh yeah, because you're a freak.
I'm weird about that. So, like, Kiakaris Anjanou is 7 syllables. So, yeah. It's one of my weird things.
Which is why sending you tells is such a fucking pain in the ass.
You gotta tell her name. I
Hold
know.
on. Fuck, I'm missing a syllable.
Yeah. Yeah. All of my characters had
some. I mean,
my kids are the same way, so it's not just in game.
I mean, we're all pretty nerdy and geeky, but can I just get a consensus that is like that's at the top of the scale of fucking nerdy weird shit.
That's pretty crazy level nerddom
right
there.
Yeah.
That's like math nerd level stuff, and those guys.
My husband,
when
he brings me dinner or when he does anything like that, he will arrange the food on the plate so that it's prime numbers because he knows it's a thing.
Jazz,
Yeah.
remind me to give my condolences to freaking Tendrils later. Like, bro, I understand you have to do this, and that's...
Yeah. So... Wow, I just don't know. I'm just going to move on from that because there's really nothing else I'm going to say.
From that
If I keep going, I'm just going to get mean and like not mean it. I'm not. It's just going to come out wrong. Fucking Poindexter.
Why start now? I mean, this whole episode is a lot of things have come out wrong.
Hey, it's not my fault. Clint Eastwood shot a lot of Mexican people in his movies. They were paid actors. They got their money. It's okay.
And actually,
You're starting to sound like Mrs. Parks that I had to run away
a lot of
from.
Italian folks, to be honest. But hey.
Yeah, they were. There was an awful lot of Italian.
There were a lot of Italians that were Mexican. See.
So bad.
So they would be like, "It's a me, Javier."
Oh no.
I imagine that was probably true.
Clint Eastwood, you come out down here to Mexico and you eat all our tortillas.
Some of those old movies, that's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
They sound Italian. They don't even sound. Yeah.
You eat all our tomatoes. We need those for the salsa.
Oh my gosh.
We're so going to hell.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I told him the other day that I would be sitting in the little train car next to him.
Yep. I'll drive the bus. Everybody on.
Yeah. I get
you guys have fun.
I get to ring the bell. Bring, 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 bring. So anyway, so how do bad names happen to good role players? And this isn't for people that like find role play, like they started out as non-role players, they just MMO players, and then they like, hey, I want to try role play. This is for like role players that just pick shit ass names. Is it? I mean, what do you guys think?
Laziness. I think a lot of times it's just either laziness or that they honestly can't think of something, so they just mimic whatever comes to mind. Because they watch anime or they know a good movie. They just do it that they don't want to think about it. A lot of people don't even role players.
Imagination.
They just don't have they don't even make up the own. I mean, if you go and you talk to a lot of role players, their backstory is straight out of some
I found all
movie.
the sky shards in Tamriel kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, or they RP the game.
Right.
They are incapable of being articulate enough and creative enough to come up with the backstory that doesn't involve the game. I am the chosen one. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Like the guy in Star Wars that he was the agent and
yeah.
And Yudve does bring up a good point. To be fair, it does get frustrating when all the names you want are taken, and it does, which means you need to try harder, you basic.
Well, it also means this is like I've told people an H is a wonderful thing, and they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Put an H somewhere."
Yeah.
And it works because in most languages the H is silent. So, that's why Zarish, her last name that when she married it, one of the letters was silent. People do that so that they can use the name they want.
It's another good thing about using X in your name. Apparently, not a lot of names with an X. Yeah.
I would say you probably don't have a lot of worry about
funny
that.
enough, your kid is named with one.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Xander. Yes. Although nobody calls him Xander, including him. He calls himself Xander.
Well, yeah, that's how I
pronounce
it.
X Xander. And he always looks at me like, "Mom, don't be a nerd." Okay.
Yeah. Same with Xanus. Xanus was an X. He was an X-anus, so Xanus. Nobody ever got that joke out of there either. Surprisingly. They always called him Zan. Nobody actually called him anus.
Well, you said
Andy.
the H was silent, and a lot of times I picked Halon because there was a character in a book that I loved, but it was a male character, and his name was Lon. And so I wanted that name, so I put Halon, and it worked. I mean, I loved it.
Like I said,
but then in Sid Bay, the H is silent.
Yeah, and the Bay was, by the way, before the idiot "Hey Bay" thing came along, so that's just bad timing.
Yeah, but just
like
remember
a
the
year
same
later.
people that made that up go yee instead, right, Kishmas? Right?
It's yeet.
That would be yeet with a T, and it's horrible.
Or no, now it's just ye. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so
I don't
you're
know how
even
they say
lazier?
it. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't get it either.
Kids today.
Those damn youngins. Kishmas.
But yeah, I think just a lot of people don't have like imaginations or.
Well,
don't
it's
take
not
the time.
encouraged either.
Yeah.
They've grown up on TV and cartoons, and
In
a lot of kids don't even
school,
read. Have you
in a
noticed
school
that?
system that doesn't teach them how to think for themselves or be original, but just
Hooked
follow
on
the
Right.
fact.
It's true.
You're punished
No
for
longer
being
hooked on phonics.
unoriginal, so yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
hooked on Pahonics.
Pahonic.
Phonics.
There's no longer hooked on
They watch that in their
Pahonic.
Panaphonic.
On their Panasonic.
Panasonic,
Fine
Panasonic.
Panaphonics.
Panaphonics. Man, just
This is so sad.
they have such a fucked up language. It's amazing we actually get anything done ever in the written form. So, lastly, what steps can you take to help a good roller player with a bad name? Really, the only thing is to strongly encourage them to quit the game and never log on again.
No,
Are you sure?
you're just being mean.
No. Well, you
If they're a decent role player and they're genuinely just made a stupid name, just talk to them, man. So hey,
a lot
I
of people
understand you're a good
figure
role
it out.
player and you're not getting role play. Why don't you try to rename your name? Ask me
Yeah.
for some good ideas. We'll brainstorm something.
Yeah, and if they can't afford
Yeah.
it, which some people can't, and I get that because some of them aren't cheap. ESO, I mean, $20 to change your name that is a pretty steep asking price. I mean, it's $5 more than the monthly subscription is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bit much, and I get that. So, and another thing you can always do is maybe wait till they're like half off or something because it does happen every now and then. But you can always, help back them up just role playing with them and having other people see that will let them know that they're legitimate as well.
Yeah. Introducing them.
What's that?
Introducing them. Like, if you have a friend that you're RPing with and people see you RPing with them, it's, more people. That's the thing about RPers. It's hard for us to trust because we don't know if you're a troll or not.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have somebody that is a good friend and that is a strong RPer and you're new and you made up a stupid name, have people see you RP with them.
That's right.
That
Sib.
and treat it like the Night Fury syndrome, where maybe you have a dumb name, but you can play it off.
Yeah.
Oh, my name really is Cestus. Oh yeah, that stupid nickname. Some guy hung out on me in the Imperial Army. Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything can work if you can't afford the name change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's ways around it.
Yep.
And if you can't think of one, ask.
Yeah. Always try to,
There's
see if somebody else can
Bother
come
to
up
give
with
you
something
ideas.
original.
I always bounce ideas off my close group of RP friends. If
Yeah.
and I have to ask about lore and stuff. But I know they'll always tell me, oh, no, that's not a good idea. Or, that's a really good idea. You should try it. So, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Unless, of course, they punch you in the nuts for asking because it was a stupid-ass question. Then it hurts to ask.
Then they're not your friend. That's
I
That's how
have a
that
few
sounds.
friends I think that would probably do that, or I have done that too.
no,
Yeah.
You're just
I just don't
mean.
want them reproducing because it was that dumb of a question. And I was
That's
like,
'cause- That's why people don't like you. That's why you're not the nice one.
everybody likes me.
That's a lie.
Everybody.
Anyway,
So, all right. Well, I think that about covers naming conventions and things like that in the game.
I want to add
No.
one thing.
You're such
Okay, add it anyway. Okay, do not get upset if somebody you get in Discord or Skype or wherever, and somebody mispronounces your name.
Boy, do people get mad. And it's like,
I'm just
how
throwing
am I
this out there
supposed to
because
know?
since it's a name episode,
Since it's a made-up fucking
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, don't get upset.
Just correct them.
Yeah, correct him.
Yeah.
I called Machia for 6 years.
Or for example,
I still call her Machia.
or for example, how two people on this show still can't pronounce the word Yunfei and add extra syllables into it. Yunfei, Unifei. It's just Yunfei.
Yunfei.
And I already said it like that, so I feel bad.
I remember it differently.
Yeah, it's Yunfei.
You do not.
It's how she says it's how the American people say it.
It just don't get upset. Just whenever you're hearing, because they've probably been mispronouncing it the whole time you've been RPing with them.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's written.
Yeah.
I know. Like
I said, they took our hooked on phonics away, so we don't pronounce things.
It's like the thing with
same.
Drisdor, and a lot of people do say it Drizzt because they add a T and nobody really knew, and the author's like it's just Drizzt.
See, and for a long time, I didn't know that.
One of the Drizzt folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know until Ashton corrected me on it. So I'm just saying, don't get upset. Don't get offended or butthurt. Just roll with it.
Exactly.
That's all I got.
Well, it's about time you came up with something and contributed to the episode.
Aww.
Man.
Sad news.
It's about time. So, all right. Well, that about covers it for this. Remember, next week it's going to be
dun, dun, dun.
the ERP episode, which we've all just been looking forward to. We're going to have to figure out, how we're going to figure we'll have a couple things, maybe why so much of it is so cringy, how to keep it, how 7 ways to keep the sparks flying in your bedroom, and how to make it not.
And that's not collecting many partners.
Yeah, and that's
adding that cheesy 1970s swanky music.
Hello there. Thank you. Come on in. You look great. Can I take your coat? This is such a great SNL skit with Christopher Walken. But lay your head on the pillow. Oh, no, where are you going? Come back.
That really well.
But, how to keep it from, as Jazz says, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. If you're basically quoting Rocco's...
Harder, deeper, faster, please.
Right.
Oh, yes, you're so good.
Which also, by the way, don't quote Rocco's Modern Life, which, yes, kids show on Nickelodeon. He was a phone sex worker. Look it up.
Terrifying.
That's funny.
It is terrifying.
Yeah, things you don't notice in cartoons when you're a kid. So that'll be next week. Look forward to it. If you've got ERP stories, if you've got questions about it, if you've been looking forward to this because God knows what's wrong with you, next week is your week. So tune in live, twitch.tv/RPMMORadio at 7 Central Time. We will be taking questions. We may have a few fan fiction stories. I'm not saying how great they're going to be. Something actually LBR has done before where their listeners have wrote fan fiction stories. If anybody out there in the next week wants to take a stab at it, as long as it's not like
pornographic,
right? Porn. As long as it's a fan fiction like erotic roleplay thing and it's funny, we may read it on the air. So submit that to us if you're really interested.
Please don't scar our eyebrows and eyebrows.
Next time for halflings in the nude. Next time.
So, all right. Well, with that, yeah, we're going to close this down before it gets even uglier than it already is. So, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Twitch.tv/RPMMO. Like, friend, subscribe, follow, note from your mother, all that bullshit. With that, I want to thank my crew for being here. Jazz, Kishma Sib, Strafe, our call screener Rahanar, and of course Yunfei moderating the chat, doing an amazing job as she always does. I want to appreciate all of our listeners, all the Patreons, everybody listen on the podcast, listen live for us throughout the night. We wouldn't be here if nobody showed up. Okay, that's a lie. I'd probably still be here, and I'd be talking anyway. But not as many of the other people would be here if it wasn't for you all showing up. So we appreciate everybody giving us 2 hours of your time every week. It's great. It's awesome. So tune in next time for Halflings. And does Halfling, by any other name, bounce any less when pushed out of a 20-story building? Tune in to find out next time on RPMMORadio. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMORadio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.